They have grown this year. My first real summer, to be honest. So it's been a learning experience. Messed around with the filter quite a bit. So making sure that's establishing has been challenging, but most of these were bought at 20 centimetres or so, and they've grown to probably about 40, so I'm quite happy with that. I'm still a bit nervous about getting them out of the pond and bowling them whilst they're alright, but yeah, one thing I've kind of learned is to not buy koi from everywhere and try and stick to one breeder. That's been definitely a learning curve. I buy at the minute from Koi Masters in Barnsley. He's been buying koi for years from Japan, and so I've been buying him, and he buys a lot of fish from Ogata Koi Farm, hoping to go out and visit there in November, so that'll be cool if I manage to do that. But yeah, I'm hoping to try and buy less fish and higher quality fish now, maybe Nisai rather than Tosai. Well, yeah, I built the pond out of a lockdown project. I lost my job when COVID kind of came about, and I was annoying the wife around the house. She wanted rid of me. So I basically went in the shed, got my shovel and built a koi pond in the back garden, and basically dug a hole, went down the local garden centre, bought some goldfish, and yeah, I started getting into it that way, and it was about 10,000 litres. It were only quite small to begin with, and I'd gone down to a koi shop and seen some big fish with my wife, and this huge, what I guess was a karashigoi now, and it must have been nearly a metre, and the wife was just absolutely stunned by it. I didn't realise fish could really grow that big in like a UK koi pond, so I thought to myself, I want to get into this, and so I bought a couple of small koi for 20 quid, brought them home, put them in, and yeah, I noticed they're a lot harder to keep than goldfish, so I kind of went online, did a bit of research, and kind of thought, how can I make this pond better for koi? And it basically told me I needed to start over again. So it was a case of, right, got a couple more months, I'll rip out the liner, get rid of the waterfall and the little pressure filter I had, and I built all this with a lot of help from quite a few friends and my family as well. So yeah, it's been definitely a learning curve. Like I say, the pond now, it's been running since September. It's 2,200 gallons. It's on through a drum filter, and then through a shower and into a biochamber, or through a biochamber and into a shower, and a mix of different medias. So yeah, it's heated as well, so I've heated for about 22 degrees through the summer, and then now I'm dropping down to almost as much as 8, given the energy cost at the minute. It's I think everyone will be looking at their energy costs through winter now, so yeah, over the next few weeks I'll be covering it up, I suppose. I've got a mixture, to be honest. Like I say, a lot of them are from Ogata Koi Farm, but then I've got the Sakai Kahaku is one of my favourites. That's only just turned Nisai. I got that off a hobbyist fairly recently. I've got Issa Showa, which is kind of Maomai style, kind of Kindai. I love Kindai Showa. But definitely my favourite is Asagi. I've got a thing for Asagi. I don't know why, and that's what I kind of plan to try and. My goal in this hobby is to try and win an award with an Asagi. So I've been picking a lot of people's brains about how best to pick them. Ricky, Alan Tate, and other people, just trying to figure out how to pick good ones. And yeah, the one that I've got, I like it. It's my kind of idea of how an Asagi should be, but it started with a couple of little shimmies now, and it's definitely, I think I've bought it too finished too early. So next year I plan to get one with the Benny quite a bit lower and the blue quite a bit more lower in the skin. So yeah, I think that comes back to buying less fish and better quality ones next year, I think. I come in through 4-inch bottom drain and a 3-inch skimmer line, straight through this Profi drum. Pretty much everything I've bought is second hand, so I got this from a guy in Essex, and second hand, and then come into with 2 3-inch inlets into this biochamber. The biochamber is full of Helix 13 media, and it comes through this and then up and through and into the shower. And it's a 40 1 metre long shower, and it just returns straight back into the biochamber. And then I've got 2 returns back to the pond, one through a heater and then one through, but just straight back into the pond. I've got 3 pumps running at the minute, so I plan to maybe reduce that down at some point. I've been told off for running too much power, so I think I'm blasting water too quickly through this system. But yeah, like I say, it's about 2,200 gallons, so this is probably all a bit of overkill, but yeah, it seems to be just about maturing now as we go into winter, unfortunately, so I'm getting to a point where I can feed them what I want to feed them, but I think now I'm going to have to start dropping the food down, getting close to winter, so that's, just about, yeah, it's quite frustrating, I guess, but hope to next year get a really good season into a lot of these fish. A lot of people talk about Go-Sanke and how difficult they are, and don't get me wrong, they are, and I'm only starting to kind of get into Go-Sanke now and understanding different types of bene and different types of sumi, different styles of fish and genetics as well. But finding a good asage is just as difficult, in my opinion. There's obviously less breeders of them out there, and to understand how to get them to where you want them to be, to the very best at a show to win an award, it's really, really difficult. And a lot of the fish that you see at Tosai, they might look nice at Tosai, but that probably means they're not going to develop into anything special later in life. So you kind of pick, what I'm going to do next year is try and pick ones without a lot of colour, even at Nisai next year, and try and grow one of them on from a different breeder, from maybe Oya or another one from Ogata. I've got the one there from Yugenji, so I'm starting to just experimenting with different bloodlines of asage as well, and they all seem so totally different. Yeah, so at the minute I'm only feeding Hikari. I've made a change over to Hikari, and I've seen like a noticeable difference in almost the water quality, but then the fish as well. Like I fed a lot of basic koi foods over the years, and I didn't really see much difference in the colours of the fish, but since feeding Hikari I've seen a noticeable difference in Shiroji. I'm on staple at the minute just because I'm not feeding a right lot, and the fish that I've got I plan to move kind of a couple of them on, and next year I'll go on to Saki Hikari again, but I also feed other stuff as well. I like to mix in like a balance of natural food, so I've got like calciworm. I plan to get some other types of natural feeds as well, like worms and bugs and stuff like that, because I know they use a lot of silkworm in Japan as well, so there's got to be something in that. So, and they seem to love it. When I chuck them in, they go crazier for the calciworm than they do the koi food. I don't know why that is, maybe just a different texture, but as long as they seem to enjoy it, then I don't mind. But I also use quite a lot of clay products as well. I like to clay quite heavily, so I use a mixture of Mud Booster, Advantage, Fock, as well, just to kind of, again, I just use it. It gives me something to do to chuck it in. But yeah, I tend to see that it helps a lot with the condition of the mucus on the skin as well, because the one thing about running a drum is sometimes there's just so much direct sunlight because the water is so clear, and I guess one of the downsides of having a drum is you almost strip the natural stuff out of the water. So I like to throw in the clay, and the fish seem to like that as well. So once a month I give them a heavy clay period. This is so totally different with a drum. You are stripping everything out. Even sometimes the treatments, if you've got a parasite, you can strip out the treatments unless you bypass. So there are positives and negatives to running a drum. I mean, it is pretty hands off. I don't really have to do anything other than make sure there's no settlement and occasionally kind of clean the screen of it and stuff. And it's not Mr. Beat, the Profi drum, so I've absolutely enjoyed using it. But like I say, I do like to clear the pond quite heavily. And some of these products are supposedly used in Japan as well, and so I like experimenting with different types of stuff and different types of feeds and things just to see the difference in the koi, really. I've been a subscriber of Koi Talk since the first issue. I mean, I can't really miss out on things. I like to be on top of everything that's happening in the hobby and understand new things and new trends. And as a newbie to the hobby as well, I only launched in September. The magazines have been helpful to me to learn more about how to best keep koi. I like looking through the pictures of different fish in Japan and things that have won awards and just koi appreciation. I think that's the main part of the hobby for me, is koi appreciation. So I've subscribed to them since the very beginning, and I'll continue to do so because I enjoy the content that's in them. I would join your local koi club. You'll have a different section of the BKKS somewhere in your region. For example, I had a good friend called Mark Sargent who helped me build this pond and really gave me advice throughout the process. And without that advice from the koi club, I would have probably had to rip this pond out and do it all again from my original plans. The people that have been there and done it before, they know how to advise you to do stuff. But yeah, there's so much good material out there, and we get involved in grow and show competitions and going around visiting koi dealers around the country and other people's ponds around the country. So, there's always, really friendly societies out there that can help you get started in this hobby. I'd definitely recommend that.